Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Ellery, and in this video, we are going to talk about reporting. If you're aiming to truly elevate your English and sound way more natural, well, you're absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to learn how to master the nuances of constructing complex reported sentences, shifting smoothly from basic everyday quotes to advanced native-sounding indirect speech. Okay, let's take a quick look at our roadmap for today. We'll start off with an introduction to reporting, then cover direct versus reported speech. After that, we'll break down the anatomy of a reported sentence, explore how to choose the best reporting verbs, and tackle some advanced reporting rules before finishing up with a review and our final takeaways. So let's jump right into Section 1, Introduction to Reporting, Building the Foundation. When we talk about advanced English, one of the most absolutely crucial skills you can develop is the ability to accurately report other people's words, thoughts, and ideas. I mean, think about it for a second. Have you ever needed to share a conversation you had with someone else? Maybe you were passing along a message from a colleague at work or telling a friend about some crazy story you just heard on the news. We literally do this every single day. But doing it correctly in English requires a few specific, kind of subtle structural shifts. Moving on to Section 2, Direct versus Reported Speech, the core difference. To really understand how to report information, we first need to get a handle on the two primary tools we use to do it. Let's start with direct speech. Direct speech is speech that's written using the exact words of the speaker, without any changes at all. You can think of this as the quote-unquote method. When someone speaks, you're essentially acting like a human tape recorder, repeating their exact phrasing, word for word, usually inside quotation marks if you're writing it down. On the flip side, we have reported speech. This is speech that is reported without using the exact words of the speaker. You might also hear this called indirect speech. In this case, you're no longer a tape recorder, you're more like a translator. You're taking the underlying meaning and the core facts of what was originally said and weaving them naturally into your own sentence. This comparison perfectly illustrates the difference. In direct speech, we have, "I am happy," she said. Those are the exact words. Now check out the reported speech version. She said that she was happy. Notice those subtle but super important shifts happening there? The pronoun I changed to she because the person we're talking about has changed. And the present tense verb am actually shifted back in time to the past tense was. This is a concept called tense back shifting, and it's a huge part of mastering this type of grammar. All right, Section 3, Anatomy of a Reported Sentence, breaking it down. So how are these complex sentences actually built? Well, it's like a giant puzzle. Every reported statement is essentially divided into two vital halves, the reporting clause and the reported clause. Let's look at this fantastic example. She said that the building was unsafe. The first half, she said, is your reporting clause. It introduces the thought or the speech. The second half, that the building was unsafe, is your reported clause. It holds the actual meat of the information being shared. When you're constructing or trying to analyze these sentences, I want you to always follow these two simple steps. Step 1, identify your reporting clause. Ask yourself, who is speaking and how are they speaking? In this case, she said. Step 2, identify your reported clause. What's the actual information? That the building was unsafe. Isolating these two clauses is a real game changer because it helps you control the grammar. The reporting clause usually dictates the tense, which then forces the reported clause to adapt its verbs to match. Let's move into Section 4, Choosing Reporting Verbs, Expanding Your Tools. Let's dive a little deeper into that first half of the sentence we just talked about. A reporting verb is exactly what it sounds like. It's a verb used in a reporting clause that describes what people say or think. Words like ask, claim, or say. It's basically the engine that drives your entire reported sentence forward. Now, I have a quick challenge for you. How would you report a statement without just relying on basic words, like say or tell? Take a brief second to think about it. Can you come up with maybe 3 other verbs you could use to describe someone speaking? Okay, let's see if you got any of these. Here's a great list of common, powerful reporting verbs. Ask, claim, say, admit, suggest, agree. Now, what's really fascinating here is how swapping out a single word entirely changes the flavor of your whole sentence. For example, saying he said he made a mistake is pretty neutral, right? But saying he admitted he made a mistake immediately implies guilt or reluctance. Elevating your reporting verbs adds so much deep emotional context to your spoken English. Section 5. Advanced Reporting Rules, the Complexities. Now that we've got the structure and vocabulary down, there are a few advanced considerations you need to keep in mind when moving from direct to reported speech. We already touched a bit on tense choices. Remember how am became was? Well, you also have to watch out for modal verbs like should or might, which sometimes shift but sometimes stay exactly the same. Plus, there are special grammatical structures for reporting offers, suggestions, and orders. And finally, you really have to know when to utilize and when you can just completely drop your that clauses. Actually, let's look at one of those special structures right now. Reporting an offer. Take this direct offer. I will help you, he offered. If we translate that into reported speech, we definitely don't say, he offered that he would help me. That sounds incredibly clunky. Instead, we streamline the whole thing using an infinitive verb. The reported offer just becomes, he offered to help me. Notice how the modal verb will completely disappears, and we just use the infinitive to help. I love this example because it brilliantly illustrates how advanced reporting is often about making sentences more efficient, not just longer. And finally, Section 6, Review and Final Takeaways, the Synthesis. We have covered a lot of ground today, from basic definitions all the way to advanced infinitive structures. But before I give you the final summary, I really want to test your understanding. Can you guess the answer to this one? How do you change the direct quote, I am busy, into reported speech, starting with the reporting clause, he claimed blank? I'll give you just a second to construct that sentence in your head. Remember, watch your pronouns and watch your tenses. All right, did you get it? The correct answer is he claimed that he was busy. Let's break down why this works one last time so it really sticks. First, we used the advanced reporting verb claimed. Next, we used the optional that to neatly connect our clauses. The pronoun I shifted to he, and our present tense verb am shifted back to the past tense was. If you got this right, for sure give yourself a massive pat on the back. So, what's the big picture here? What should you take away from today's lesson? First, always remember to differentiate between direct speech, those are your exact quotes, and reported speech, which conveys the indirect meaning. Second, master isolating those two key clauses, the reporting clause and the reported clause. Third, elevate your vocabulary. Try to ditch the word say and start using richer verbs like claim, admit, and suggest. And finally, always keep an eye out for those tricky tense and modal shifts when you're transforming your sentences. Ultimately, language is all about connection, and sharing information is exactly how we build those connections. So I'll leave you with this final thought. What fascinating conversations are you going to report using your new advanced tools today? Keep practicing, keep paying close attention to those clauses, and I promise you, you will sound like a native speaker in no time. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.